next we'd like to have David Swanson talk about the various types of war crimes of the Bush administration.
Thank you, and we are not going to have time for the war crimes of the Bush administration, and I'm going to try actually to be even briefer than that and get to some questions and answers and discussion, because that's more fun and interesting. I'm very sorry Ray won't be here for that. It's an incredible honor to speak on a panel with both Ray and Wright, and I learn a tremendous amount every time I talk to either one of them. I think Ray hit the fundamental problems with torture, but I would add one more. I think we could go on forever, but I will add just one more reason that there's a problem with torture, and that is, of course, that it is illegal. And if you want to change a law, change the damn law, but you don't break it and justify that with distorted, twisted moral reasonings and ignore the fact that it's illegal, because you're setting a pattern that permits the violation of any other law as well. And the other thing you don't do is go to Congress and recriminalize it again, and pass another bill to ban torture, and another bill to ban torture, and the president erase them with signing statements and pass another bill to ban torture, because it creates the impression that torture was one day legal. And we've had to do something to make it illegal, when it has always been illegal, always, everywhere, in every case without exception, and still is. So I live a couple hours south of here in Charlottesville, Virginia, and some of you may have heard this story, but there was a woman who was murdered in my town by her husband, and it was on a security camera downtown. And the guy went home and got a poster and came back downtown, started marching around, "I've protected the world from feminism," right? And all the feminists came out with posters that said, "This guy is the most offensive thing on the face of the earth, but what we need to do is look forward. We need to have a vision of the future. We need to focus on change we can believe in." And the people in the local media all started talking about, murder is kind of tasteless and offensive, and it's not really a crime. And you stop talking about it as a crime, And so then there was a rash of murders. Anybody who wanted to murder anybody started doing it. And there was looting. People were smashing windows, taking stuff, and saying to the cops, "Focus on repairing the glass. Our crime is in the past." Right? I mean, it is absurd, right? And it's not, of course, not true, but this is a vision of what we're being offered by people who tell us that crimes are in the past. Excuse me, every single crime ever prosecuted is in the past. If we're not going to prosecute crimes that are in the past, we can do away with police and courts, just have reporters tell us about the crime, and then we forget it, and we move forward. All right, now, what I want people to do is not pleasant, it's not happy, right? I would much rather go in that room up there on my right with the doves and the pastels than go in that room over there to my left, which is intense and unpleasant. But if we don't face those things, they come back again and again and again. So it's not something we have a choice about. It's not a policy difference or a partisan decision. If we're going to have the rule of law, we're going to have to actually stop recriminalizing illegal activities again and again and actually enforce the damn laws that are already on the books. Now, this is a moment in this town of incredible hope and opportunity. And having elected a black president, and the state of Virginia, where I live, having voted for a black president, this is the result of work that people did 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago. People who didn't think they were getting anywhere. And what we have to do now is be able to work on things where we don't think we're getting anywhere. Because if we don't, we're going to have a disaster on our hands in decades to come. We're going to have a repetition. And the crimes of this administration are absolutely endless and absolutely irrefutably documented. There's a professor named Michael Haas who just put out a book that documents 269 war crimes committed by George W. Bush. All right, just Google 269 war crimes. You'll find the book. You should buy it. And he doesn't touch the domestic crimes. He doesn't touch the vast majority of the crimes and abuses. Just the war crimes. And 4 or 5 at the very beginning are about the lies that took us into the war. And the rest are all about the way this has been conducted. And the illegal weapons, and the targeting of civilians, and the targeting of journalists, and the targeting of hospitals. And it's absolutely endless. It's absolutely irrefutable. And it's the law. And there are all kinds of ways that we can go about this. Vince Bugliosi's book, The Prosecution of George W. Bush for Murder, is a very strong case for how we can make state and local prosecutions happen. And his book is being mailed this week to 2,700 district attorneys around the country and has already been sent to 50 state attorneys general. So now is the time to get together with your local group and figure out who the district attorneys are near where you live, and who is your state attorney general. And can you call them? And can you ask them to pay attention to the book they're getting in the mail this week? There are foreign and international prosecutions. There are civil prosecutions. And none of what I'm talking about is affected in any way by pardons, which, if they happen, will have to happen in the next 2 days, but will only affect federal prosecutions. And of course, if they do happen, or if we do nothing for a long enough period of time, foreign and international prosecutions become easier and more likely, as it becomes clearer that the United States is not handling itself. There is a great deal of talk right now that sounds like talk about prosecutions, but is in fact talk about investigations and truth and reconciliation and commissions. And there's a danger here in that we have a president and a vice president going on television and confessing to warrantless spying and torture and illegal aggressive wars and so on. I mean, stronger proof is not even imaginable. And so...
You've been wanting to say this
That's
for
right.
a long time.
Lock them up. Lock them up. Lock the bastards up and throw the key away. Far away! A few years down and get mo, then life in Abu Ghraib. Make sure their sorry asses never see the light of day. Think you got it? 2, 3, 4. Lock them up. Lock them up. Lock them up. Lock them up. Lock the bastards up and throw the key away. Far away!